What's good? Good morning. This light is a little distracting for a video, but it's very welcoming for my morning. It's October. We're pushing through into October 2025. This year has kind of been flying by, and I wasn't expecting that, but I'm thankful for that because in the process of the year just kind of flying by, I feel like I've made progress. I've developed some clarity and some direction for my future, which is an absolutely wonderful feeling. Oh my, I'm very thankful for that. And so now it's October and we're still getting nice days for weather, which is good because I work general construction. For the next few weeks, our jobs are outside sort of based and focused. But once we get this roof on one of the additions we're working on, then we'll be covered and it'll be nice. And then for winter, we have a basement job. So the next 6 months are going to be busy, but I'm going to be blessed because I have so much opportunity ahead of me. 3 years ago, I was just like drowning looking for opportunity. But what I didn't realize is that the struggles I was going through were meant to happen. It was destiny and it was fate, which is it's in the moment you don't realize that. But once you start getting through it and you see the lessons that you've learned and the growth that you have experienced as a person, you get it. And so now I get it. And in developing confidence in the future, knowing I'm going to be busy, I think I'm going to do something crazy. Hear me out, and I'd love your feedback. I think I'm going to buy land. I always talk about it, but my plan has been to try to save up a big chunk of money to buy it outright with cash. And my thought was that it would take like 3 years to do that. And then I was thinking to myself, what is land going to look like in 3 years in terms of cost? And how am I going to be able to account for that additional increase in cost? Because right now, 30K can get you 5 acres. In 3 years, it's probably going to be 50K. So I think I'm going to just take out a very bad loan. They're called the balloon loans or the interest only loans. So for 5 years, you have a low monthly payment, but you're literally only paying interest. However, the way to benefit from that is to just pay more than your minimum every month. And so if my minimum payment is $250 or $300, but I'm paying $1,200 to $1,300 a month, so I'm paying an extra grand a month in principal, that will pay me off so quickly. And I was wanting to maybe try to find a place to rent for the winter, and I'd be paying about $1,000 realistically for that's even a good deal in Seattle, only paying $1,000. And I was just like, you know what? If I'm gonna be shelling out $1,000 every month for nothing, I should just be shelling out $1,000 every month right now for my land that I will have in the future. And so it's a little risky. I acknowledge that. However, I think it's the right path. I do think it's the right decision. The time is now, not like right now this week. There's a company I've interacted with in the past, just learning whatnot. They're gonna do they do Black Friday deals. So I think for Black Friday, I'm gonna before Black Friday try to find a plot I like, start the initial conversation, and then just wait to see what Black Friday gets me. It might just get me 1% better interest rate or something like that. We'll see. I think last year it was like they matched your down payment. So if you did, 2,000 down, they'd, take an additional 2,000 or something. I don't remember. Anyways, I'm getting off subject. Let me redirect. This whole video was actually, my intention was to talk about attachments and unwinding from attachments. So as I proceed with this plan, I'm trying to be cautious to not get too attached to it. And that's been a huge lesson that I've had to learn over the last several years. It's something I've dealt with my whole life, but there's this Buddhist or Zen or Taoist expression. They all overlap a lot, and so attachment is the root of suffering. And I remember hearing that when I was a teenager, because I've always loved philosophy, but I never really understood it until I would say very recently, within the last year or two. And I don't even think I can rhapsodize enough in a way where I want to feel like I'm instructing. This is actually me just sharing, but I get it now. Attachment is the root of suffering, because with attachment comes expectation. And when expectations are not met, the default response is often disappointment. And then that disappointment is a form of suffering, because then it can lead to things like rumination and questioning one's self-worth. I'm going to pause real quick. And that disappointment, especially when you start venturing into the self-worth questioning spiral, that can go to bad places. And that can also, attachment can lead you to hold on to things longer than you should. Because it's not just always attachment to expected outcomes, but there's also attachments to comfort. And when we start talking about trauma and subconscious programming and how we need to break these generational curses, there is a lot of subconscious attachment to the way you were raised and comforts around that. And in my experience, I was raised to always, we were always just kind of scrambling to get by. And I didn't even understand it when I was a kid, but I can give you examples and sort of parallels. When I was a kid, literally 8 years old, my parents would wake me up at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning. I'm not kidding you. This is why I don't like mornings. This is why I have fucked up sleep issues, all kinds of stuff. They'd wake me up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go help them work, like cleaning the movie theater. So anybody from Port Angeles, Kyle and Cody, you might appreciate this. Deer Park Cinema. Do you all remember Deer Park Cinema? I don't know if it's still there. When I was 8 years old, I used to go help my parents clean that shit. We'd sweep up the popcorn. We'd vacuum. Oh man, that's the boss man. He's early. I'm in a flow. I just want to keep this video going real quick. So it wasn't just cleaning up the movie theater. I would also then sometimes go help. So I'd be helping one of my parents. It was either helping clean the movie theater or helping my mom with a paper route, a newspaper route. I'm not fucking kidding you. And so over the last few years, when I've been in this place of struggle to get by, just not knowing what to do and just sort of being attached to that reality, that is reality, you just struggle to get by, I have been doing things like DoorDash and Walmart Spark deliveries and Uber Eats, this gig work. And it paralleled sort of the comfort of my childhood in that sort of, that's just what you do to get by. And I'm not trying to put that stuff down in any way, shape, or form. I have so much love and respect for gig workers and for the working class. But I think for me, because it's comfortable, that's just what I thought I should be focusing on. And so I think I started the video talking about this opportunity for this work ahead of me. At some point in this year, it clicked where I said, you know what? Step into this trade. Lean into being a framer. This is your future. It's more stable. You can take it everywhere. It's a skill that is just always going to be needed. Building, just general building. It's so much fun. And it's what I'm going to be able to help bring to the new earth. And so I don't know what I'm going to title this video, because it's not as much on the attachments that I wanted to talk about. It got random, but I'm going to end it there because the boss man's unloading and I got to get to work. But we're going to get this, y'all. Much love.